Hello, and welcome to Unsaid After Dark. Listen closely because these stories are only meant for the night. So, tonight we dive into 5 anonymous stories of dates that went horribly wrong. Story 1. So, a few years ago, I matched with this gentleman on Match.com. One thing led to another, and we ended up going on a date. The conversation was strained, and all he did was talk about his soon to be ex wife, non-stop. He was clearly still madly in love with this woman. So after dinner, he walked me to my car and tried to lean in for a kiss. As he was leaning in, he grabbed me by my waist and then he tried to grab my ass. I managed to push him away and I just looked him in the eye and I said, "No, we're not going there tonight. And this is probably where we should say goodnight." We went our separate ways and neither one of us contacted one another. And needless to say, I was not at all disappointed. Fast forward about a week later, I ended up seeing on the local news that he had been unalived. He had shown up at his ex's house, acting a fool, trying to get violent with her, threatening her. Her new boyfriend ended his life. The boyfriend was found not guilty. Match made in heaven or match sent to heaven. Story 2. So I ended up meeting this really hot girl at a bar one Friday night. We had a few drinks together, and I ended up taking her back to her place. She invited me in. We casually hung out, got to know one another, and before long, we both got sleepy. She invited me to stay. Nothing sexual, just so I didn't have to drive home tired. I figured that was very thoughtful of her. I woke up and left the next morning before she woke up herself. I called her during that next week, and I set up a date for that next Thursday. As I went back to her apartment to pick her up that Thursday, as she opened the door, she looked as if she had seen a ghost. I brushed it off. We went out to dinner about 45 minutes away from her apartment. The conversation in the car was not the conversation from Saturday night, meaning the vibe was totally off. That tone carried over into dinner. A couple of times I brung up some things she had told me from Saturday night, and she acted surprised as if I knew these things. I mentioned to her that these were things that she had told me about herself Saturday night. She looked dumbfounded, once again as if she had seen a ghost, and then it began to click. So I just asked her, "Do you remember anything about our time together? And do you even know who I am?" She cowardly admitted that she didn't, and claimed that she was super drunk that night and did not remember much, which is crazy because she did not exhibit any signs of being overly impaired. I pressed her again by asking, "Who did you think I was showing up tonight then?" She admitted that she had spoken to another guy before me and she thought he was the one who had called her to set up the date. Hence, the puzzling look on her face when I went to pick her up. And that was it for me. I could not wait to get out of there. I quickly finished my food. I probably left half of it there and I got the check. We walked outside. I saw a cab station. A part of me wanted to just send her home in a cab, but me being the gentleman that I am, I brought her home the same way she got to the date. A silent ride, of course. As she got out of my car, the only thing I said to her was, "You might want to slow down on the drinking. Good night." Story 3. So I went on my first Tinder date after my divorce. Stupid, I know. I got married at 19, very young, and divorced 8 years later. So I really did not know much about the dating world, and I had no clue what catfishing was. I ended up meeting this guy for coffee, and he looked nothing like the guy from the Tinder pic. Nothing at all. I didn't say anything. I just talked to him like a friend. We had coffee. We played tennis. And after the date, I told him that I was still healing from my divorce and not really ready to date right now. He responded with something along the lines of, "F you. You're on Tinder. You know what you came on there for. Blah, blah, blah." I was shocked because how are you mad at me when you straight catfished me? Looking back at this 6 years later, I cannot believe I was stupid and dumb enough to go anywhere with this stranger of a creep. He could have been anybody. I was super naive. Story 4. New Year's Eve 2007. So I invited my date to my job's New Year's party. I was very excited. I got so wasted that I passed out after taking my 9th shot of wild turkey. I woke up on a couch in a back room with my date sitting next to me with a trash can. He had this crazy look on his face. My stomach started bubbling, and he had to carry me to the bathroom because I couldn't even walk on my heels. He held me up while I started taking a dump. While I was taking a dump, I started throwing up all over his white shoes. Embarrassing, I know. So my cousin, who was also at the party, was called to the bathroom to assist him. As I finished taking a dump, she held me up so he could wipe my ass. My cousin never lets me forget that story. Yes, we dated for a while after that, until he moved back to another state. Since then, wild turkey has been banned in my state. Good riddance. Story 5. So I met this really hot girl on Tinder. We got to know one another, or what I thought was getting to know one another. We ended up going on a date, and she was like an hour or so late picking me up. Arrived in a Maybach, said hop in. We went to some restaurant that looked awful from the outside, but everything on the menu had expensive prices. She ordered a lot, and I ordered just a little bit of wine. They served the drinks, and she started talking about some crazy stuff. She talked like a sociopath. The server appeared, and she demanded that I pay for the order before they even served it. About $200 worth of crap. Her crap. I smelled something wrong, and I asked for a separate check. She got angry and told me to get out. I started paying for my wine, but I almost got charged for the whole meal. But my debit card bounced because I only had like $40 on it. I guess being broke pays off. I got lucky. I texted a friend about this about a week later. She told me it was a known scam and that it was all over the news. So yeah, it was definitely a weird experience. Turns out she was part of a criminal organization that preys on men on Tinder. Who would have thought? If you're still listening, I want to thank you for hanging out in the shadows with me. And until next time, stay restless, curious, and keep your secrets close.